welcome to Reflection Video 5. My name is Deborah Kuahara.
My name is Hector Espericueta-Jimenez.
My name is Diego Loa.
I'm Samuel Villafranca, and this is our presentation of Reflection Video 5, and I'm going to go ahead and get started with the introduction. We are doing week 11, and the topic is under urban planning, or is about urban planning. Just a quick overview of planners and planning. It takes a planner to create well-built and more elastic communities. Urban planning is the city's most successful implement for managing development, navigating change, and making tough decisions that face communities. Planning is much more than planning for the city. It is looking out for the future of communities and environments to ensure an abundant and peaceful future. Moving forward, education for the future. In the new days, we have engineered resources and gadgets to help us be one step ahead in our fields. Methods like planetizing make it easier for those who are in the planning and planner field to gain more knowledge and information on urban planning to assist them in being on the right path in their career. Inspiration of an urban planner. Those who are becoming an urban planner often contain a thrive and passion to create beautiful cities that are safe and equal to all. Courses in education are beneficial to enter the field, but having the fire to make a change in a community is one of the most key factors in the planning field.
Okay, so article or slash website on American Planning Association. Um, in the website, it says planners are essential for community growth. They are the ones that improve growth through investing in transportation, housing, and parks. Planners plan and make goals and have long-term views. They are the ones that have great expertise and knowledge on the field and have research and use data on the communities to build a better environment. What is planning? Building more stronger, more resilient communities start with effective planning. Planning is the most effective tool that leaders use for managing growth, navigating change, and making the right decisions that face communities. For example, where to invest in transportation, housing, and parks. APA and its role, elements of A. The American Planning Association is a professional organization. Why do communities need planners? Planners look beyond instant issues to consider how today's decisions will impact the communities in the future. For example, reconnecting neighborhoods divided by highways. Their perspective ensures that development supports accessibility, sustainability, and quality of life for all generations.
Planners see possibility everywhere.
For the third material that we used, a required material, we used Planetizen. It's essentially like an urban planning news website. And so I chose the article, "In a Warming World, Water-Based Recreation Isn't a Luxury." And so essentially it talks about the three main ideas of climate heat necessity, equal access, and climate ready planning. So essentially the article argues that pools, lakes, and other aquatic amenities are more than recreational and more than fun. They are very critical and important in cooling off from extreme heats, promoting well-being, and supporting areas dealing with climate stress. So it's more than just a sense of relief, but actually helps people in these struggles. And then in the second main idea of equal access, a lot of areas don't have equal access to these amenities, such as parks, considering the distance and where they're located, as well as like the cost for getting there. So essentially, it creates inequalities for access to these amenities amidst the climate change. And then the third idea, the article recommends that local governments think of aquatic amenities as essentials for infrastructure. So not just push them off to the side and think of them as being a helpful aid in dealing with climate change and considering it for planning. And I believe that this article is a pretty good example of what urban planning can entail, whether it's something big or it's something as small but critical, like water parks and aquatic amenities.
All right, so for our two final required resources, we have Becoming an Urban Planner, What Planners Do, and Becoming an Urban Planner Education. So, urban planners shape how cities grow and function. They analyze community needs and long-term land use goals to help decide how spaces such as housing, transportation, parks, and other commercial areas should be developed. And overall, their goal is to improve the quality of life by aligning all of these different factors to prioritize the environmental goals and quality of life. And then the second main idea is that planners work collaboratively and rely on data to problem solve. So planners rarely work alone. They collaborate with architects, engineers, developers, government officials, and community members. And much of their work involves analyzing public outreach data, demographic trends, zoning laws, environmental information, and other things to solve problems and balance different interests. And then finally, becoming an urban planner requires specialized education and skills. So most professionals earn a master's degree in urban or regional planning, and then these field values skills in GIS research, communication, design, policy analysis, and the understanding of urban systems and how they function. And then many planners also pursue a certification through the American Institute of Certified Planners or AI, AICP.
Yes. So I saw this video on urban planning. It's a TED Talk. My reflection on this TED Talk with Sada K. Tereneth goes into great detail on how urban planning affect the quality of life and how it helps cities and residents grow. Turner argues that urban planners see cities as building blocks and a way to see data and how they should plan for future generations. Planners should plan around the people. That's the most important, I guess, attribute from urban planners. And also build around community, preserve the cultural and heritage that the community has. Also have walkable streets and healthier urban environments. Urban planners can achieve this by listening to the people needs to ensure that their future is well prepared and also for the, I guess, the community to grow over time. And yes, so to reflect on this video, I think the key important concept that Turnet argues is to plan around the people and not just see uh, the community as numbers and buildings. So yes.
And how
Moving on to the second material, I found a great um, infographic video that covers urbanization and the future of cities, and it also highlights the role and impact the urban planner has on expanding cities while assisting the population growth in urban areas. Although the video focuses on urbanization, it also expresses how urban planners have had this role and have been the backbone on creating better cities and have had an impact on population. Um, it also expresses that more than half of the population of Earth resides in an urban environment. In about 30 years, that will increase 70%. 100 years ago, only about 2 out of 10 people lived in an urban area. Throughout time, people have sought out opportunity, diversity, and better living conditions, which led them to an urban area. Lastly, the video states with the assistance of urban planners, cities are seeing changes that impact them in a positive way. These improvements pull in people to live in cities where they choose to work, live, and start a new life. Without the help of urban planners, we would not see the number of people living in urban areas as we do today.
So for our third extra resource, I found a research article that took surveys from university students. It's called Changing Career Choice of Graduate Students in Urban Planning in the Past Decade and the Implications for Growing Education Reform, the case of Tongji University. So the first main idea is that students' career interest has significantly changed from the past. And so today's planning students are moving away from traditional government planning jobs, which used to be the most common career paths for urban design students. And instead, more graduates are pursuing newer fields like sustainability and consulting or city development and environmental planning. And this shift reflects that larger changes are happening within the planning profession, especially the rise of technology and the growing urgency of climate change. And then, second main idea is that the changes in the job market reveal gaps in current planning education. So, students also report that planning programs often do not fully match the evolving skills needed in the workforce. So, there's a pretty noticeable disconnect between what students have or what they hope to do after graduation and what their coursework actually emphasizes. So, this suggests that the traditional planning curriculums that have been implemented in universities have not necessarily kept up with the expanding range of the careers and what they require nowadays. And then finally, the study calls for significant reforms in how planning is taught. So, because of these changes, the study argues that planning education needs significant reforms, and these programs should adopt more applied and interdisciplinary approaches rather than just textbook. And then the goal is to create a more flexible and responsive curriculum that can better prepare students for the rapidly evolving nature of this degree.
To conclude our presentation, our first takeaway is that urban planning strengthens communities. So we see that urban planners are really important in developing safe, strong, and future-oriented areas by listening and addressing community needs based on the research and our takeaways from what we discovered. The second takeaway is that education and tools develop future planners. So it is proven from some of the materials that we discovered that modern planning takes strong foundations from education and reliable resources in order to stay informed and prepare for the future when it comes to urban planning and urbanization. And then the third main idea to take away is that climate change requires newer approaches. So given the example of the water issues, battling climate change and redirecting public necessities is important for adaptive planning and problem solving and finding different ways as we progress through these newer challenges and finding newer solutions for them.
And then
And
these are our resources, and we're excited. And that'll conclude our presentation. Thank you.